I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. Hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test, part 454, while doing leg stretching. And if you participate in the leg stretching, it is at your own risk. Now, and we already did 3 parts ago also, or 2 parts ago, the thing about William Shakespeare in detail. So that I'm now, if we go fast over it again, I may be able to say that all what is written here in one through. And that we're gonna shoot with another camera for a separate video. So that was what I want to end with that one. William Shakespeare settled upon our war, England 1564-1660. He was a playwright, an actor, and as he was an author. It was okay, it wouldn't be a problem if I say it. A playwright and an actor. And his famous plays written by him are, for example, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. He wrote oftentimes about what was happening by the nobility, I needed the word of it, by the monarchy, by kings and queens. And but oftentimes these real events, which were the basis for his books or plays, were dramatized. But he also wrote about ordinary men and women. And he had a great vendetta, he had a great influence on the English language. And many of his lines which he used in his plays are still used today. For example, once more upon a bridge, Henry V, to be or not to be, Hamlet. A rose upon another name, Romeo and Juliet, to be or not to be, Hamlet, I have it. The dialogue, I'm always making the fifth one first. The dialogue words of Mason, the 18th shall compare me to a summer's morning, to a summer's day, wouldn't be a problem. And when we have a thing, all the stage out of Aesop. And we also have a thing. He's regarded by many people as one of the greatest playwrights and author, but it wouldn't be that important when I say that. His poems are still performed and studied. Many of his works and plays are still performed and studied. His poems, his plays. And there is the Globe Theatre in London. It's in London. In London there's the Globe Theatre. I can say it better around. And which should look as if it were built during the time when Shakespeare started on the war, 1564, 1660. Okay, now I'm going to stop the other camera and we're trying to shoot it. We have time for around 2 takes. If it doesn't work, we're doing the leg stretching and then we're trying it again if we can the video. William Shakespeare was an actor and playwright. He made many works, plays, and also poems. Some of his works which he did were A Midsummer Night's Dream, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. He oftentimes wrote stories about kings and queens which were based on real happenings, but he often dramatized them. But he also wrote about ordinary men and women. Many of his lines of his plays are still in use today. For example, Once more unto the bridge out of Henry V, or To be or not to be out of Hamlet, or A rose upon another name out of Romeo and Juliet, or All the world's a stage out of Aesop, or The darling buds of May out of Sonnet 18 shall compare me to a summer's day. Many people regard William Shakespeare as the greatest author of all time, and his works and poems are still studied and performed today. And there is the Globe Theatre in London, and that looks as if it were built during the time when Shakespeare lived, which was from 1564 until 1660, and he was born in Stratford upon Avon in England, according to the Life in the UK Test Handbook, page 26. I think it was great. I have to have my bookmark where I open the page. Now I'm going to stop the camera, and then we're going to do the leg stretching. First exercise, we're having the legs long out. Toes are together, so down to the outside, together, and lean in front and pull the toes in. Pull the toes in, this is the most important part, basically. So, and we will continue to prepare the next video, which we will then also record like that one just. The rise of Parliament. Now, I think we're coming now to Charles I. I think we're gonna do a video about Charles I. And then we're gonna explain all the other things. but not Oliver Cromwell. We're going to do a second video about Oliver Cromwell, just not Charles I. And now the story of Charles I ends fatally. So the end of what we're going to talk about with person ends with his death. Violent death. So, what do we have? I think it starts here. Charles I, next exercise. And we're going again in front, you can again pull those in. Charles I, he was the son of James I. He was Protestant. I don't know what we're going to all say, so in a way I'm trying not to get all information we have, but I try to learn it in the way I'm going to say it then in the video in one through. He was Protestant, he was less political. Charles I believed, like his father James I, in the divine rights of kings, which change the leg. That means that the king can rule without the approval of parliament, and that the king has basically the God-given right to. If I say it that way, I could still say it that way. And he inherited the thrones of England, Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. Oftentimes he did not get the approval of the parliament of things. He was still doing what he wanted to do, and that worked more or less for 11 years. But then he tried to introduce a prayer book under the Presbyterian Church of Scotland. And there now was a Scottish army assembled, there was unrest, there was a rebellion against it, an armed rebellion, and a Scottish army invaded England. In 1640 he called the parliament to ask for funds, but the parliaments, the Puritans, yes, we have to say it. And we're going to the next exercise, 1990 with the legs. We're doing the calf raiser. We are with the hands at the knee behind of us, and we're leaning in front to the knee in front of us. In the parliament were the Puritans, and they were Protestants, but they didn't agree, they weren't in favor, they didn't like, they weren't in a province with the king's religious views. I don't really understand the sentence before, but strict and simple religious doctrine and worship. I don't know what it means, or how it opposes to Charles I, just because people see that. But it's not Charles I, it is Oliver Cromwell. They did not like his religious views, and also not his reforms, or what he reformed, or his reforms of the Church of England. And now the parliament was refusing to give him money even after the Scottish army had invaded England. In Ireland, they also in rebellion began because of a fear or afraidness, or because they were afraid of the growing power of the Puritans in the parliament in London. I'm already trying to say it in a way, I will save it then in the other video. Now, Charles I entered the House of Commons, and he tried to arrest 5 parliamentary leaders, but they were warned. They knew he was coming. I can say this is one, whatever happens, and we weren't there. And that was the last time that a monarch has entered the House of Commons. We're going to the other side over. We're doing the same exercise. Again, with the hands at the knee behind of us, leaning in front. Well, and now Civil War broke out. So now in 1642 it happened with I need to, there's a little missing link basically. It just starts with here. They were not doing up, they were warned. And now the Civil War breaks out. Now is that the cause directly of the Civil War? I need to have a little way, if I get stuck there, but I say then how it goes on. And then in 1642, so more or less I have to make a little jump. I cannot say that it's a direct conclusion. A direct continuance. And now the Civil War broke out in 1642, and there were the people who supported the king, the Cavaliers, and the Roundheads who supported the Parliament. The king's army then was at the battles of Marston Moor and Nesby, Marston Moor and Nesby, defeated, and Now it was clear that the parliament had won the war. Charles I was held prisoner, was taken prisoner, and because he was still unwilling to reach agreement with the parliament, he was executed in 1649. I should go a little bit on. It was a bit unclear who ruled it. England? Who ruled it? Is this correct? Who should rule England? And the next exercise. Again, 1990, and we're just coming in front. But it happened then to be... Okay, now I'm going to remove it. There's a big long hair. By one of the generals of the parliamentary army of Roundhead supported army by the... What was it here? I can't find it. One of its generals of the army. One of the generals of the army. Which army? The people waren a little. I think always a little better luck with a little. And the next exercise is the pigeon pose. Do it only if you already know how to do it without entering yourself. And now there was one general, or it was a bit unclear who ruled the country. But it became then more or less is very good. It became then, it happened to be Oliver Cromwell was the leader of the army, or one of the generals. And I'm right now not thinking what to say. I'm thinking about what I say here. I'm thinking about what I will say then in the other video at one point. Because where I have to say it in one through, but it makes sense for everyone. He got the title Lord Protector and he ruled England. That is all. I don't have to say the other things we will do with the Oliver Cromwell video. Also the things of, maybe we're going to do a second video about Charles I, just one for Charles I, and then we include also the Glorious Revolution. No, the Restoration. Maybe we're going to do two, one about Charles II and one about the Restoration. We could go back, we could certainly make a few more. But I think we have it. I could actually, I think, do this video during the pigeon pose. But I hesitate a little. Because we're in it already for security reasons. We're in the middle of an exercise. I don't want to get overly distracted by doing another video and do the exercise longer. So. Okay, I think we have what we're gonna say to Charles I. It basically ends with that he was executed, and then we're gonna say also that it became Oliver Cromwell when led on. I don't think we have to say how actually when restoration is not necessary. We don't have to say about the governing, we're gonna say it's Oliver Cromwell, and that is enough. Okay, we're going to the other side. And we're not gonna do, so first on the other side, 1990, and we're going in front. We're not gonna do that video in this video, we have just 2 minutes left. We need the timer for the pigeon pose. So we can go here and look again what we had here to these devolved administrations. In Wales there is the Senate, and that was formed in 1999 in Cardiff, which is the capital of Wales. And there are 60 members, and they are called members of Senate, so the SMs, the Senate members, and they are elected every 4 years. There was something else. They can rule in 21 different areas, I think geographical. And for example, can they rule in education and training, and health and social services, in housing, and in economic development. Since 2011 can make a law without UK Parliament. And since 2011 they can do, and what did they do from 1999 to 2011? This is all, there are so many missing things, and it is probably 10 years old that it was written. And there, next exercise, which pause. This is 10 years old when it was written. And now the last thing, so in 2011, there was a big change. Now this is probably from 2013 or 14. This is 2025, about the text years from 2013-14. There was a big change in 2011. But I think we have 13 years now. We have half of the existence of the Senate. Do we have no information about? And now we should learn that. So about the other things you should learn here for Northern Ireland Assembly, they can do education but not training. They cannot do training but education. And we should learn that all really so in detail. Something which is 13 years old at I don't think that it is so separated. You can do education, you can do training, you can't do training, you can do education, but not training. I don't really believe it also. It's now we're having 20 seconds left. Okay, but since 2011 we can make law without the UK Parliament. That is not a sentence a human says, so I have to formulate it differently. We are done. Butterfly stitch sort of together, sitting tall up and going a bit in front. I thank you very much, and until next time.